Okay, so we're back. The structure is all glued onto the frame, the four wall sections, including the kind of broken wall sections near the slope entryway. The house is glued into position. You can also see all of the brickwork, the masking tape bricks, so to speak, on the foam core. And you'll notice that there's also a chimney on here now, which I just handcrafted out of some pink insulation foam. And the brickwork, oops, still drying. The brickwork was done with a pencil. I also took a rough rock and pressed it up against the styrofoam to give the more of a craggy stone look to the final effect on the stone of the chimney. I also just cut up a straw, and I have two little smokestacks coming out of the chimney there, just to give it a nice little extra touch in the end. I have already cut, you may notice, some shingles, right, of various sizes. All right, in the I've just put them in the open area here, just as for easy access. There's two things we need to shingle on the structure. Now we do need to get back to the house and detail it later. It needs some doors, it needs a door, it needs some window frames, a shutter, etc., etc. But for now, what we're going to work on is some shingling. Now, normally, we should go about shingling the roof, and I will do that, and that's what these large shingles are going to be for. But we're also, for a neat effect on this foam core wall, we're going to put shingles along the top of this wall. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a little glue going on there. I really don't want too much. I don't want it squirting all and squeezing all over the place. Just enough to give my shingles a nice contact. I'm going to take these small shingles and I'm going to place them on the wall. Alright, so it's going to be kind of a nice capping effect to this wall that these shingles are going to have. Okay, I'm going to go all the way around the wall. It actually goes pretty fast. You cut up your shingles and then you just go about applying them. You want them to be a little bit irregular in width and length. Not, you want them to have some uniformity, but you want them to be staggered and different enough that in the end this thing has character. Alright, can even slide these to make room for one as they dry. Okay, so I just kind of go around the corner there. Alright, so I'm going to continue adding shingles all the way down this wall, and they're going to look really cool at the end when we paint them up. Okay, so we're going to shingle give a shingle to the top of the stone wall, just kind of as a cap to the top of the wall all the way around. We're also going to shingle the house. Now, on some of the other structures you may have seen me do recently, I kind of put some rivets through the shingles and made it kind of a metal roof. I'm thinking this being on this hill with this stone fence is more of a rural structure, and so they're going to use more simple kind of tile materials. So this time around I am not going to rivet these. I am just going to apply overlying tiles, a little smaller than the tiles I usually use in some of the other buildings we've done that represented the metal pieces. Alright, but you can see in the end we're going to get this effect of this nice tiled house. And don't be afraid to slide those around to get them the way you need them. And also don't be afraid to cut one to the size you need. Okay, when the situation arises. Still a little big. Alright, a little irregularity with this shingling is always a good thing. Okay, so what I'll be doing is I'll be doing multiple layers of shingles and overlapping the shingles that I already have on here. Okay, and going over the house. I want it to look a little ramshackle. It is a rural house, this homestead, this hillside homestead. And I'm going to continue to shingle all the way around, put these small shingles on top of the wall. So let me work on that, and then we'll get to the final details in the house after that. So I'll be right back in a second. Okay, so now we've got all the shingling done. Okay, and on the top of the wooden wall and also on top of the roof. Whenever you do shingling of any kind on a roof, what you want to do is take a strip of cardboard, score it down the middle with an X-Acto knife, and fold it over for your kind of rim that goes across the top. Alright, so we've got all those elements on there. The next thing we need to talk about is about adding wooden bits to the house to make window frames and to door frame and the shutter and so forth. I've got some of this put together already, but we'll talk about it. The first thing we're going to do is put the door in this. Now if you remember, in the beginning we cut cut the door section, right out of this little cottage, because we're going to build the door in that cavity there. Alright, so what I've done is I've cut some door pieces so that I can install kind of the right size in there, and I am just going to go ahead and put some glue in that door cavity. Okay, just kind of spread it around in there. Okay, and then I am going to take some pieces and kind of assemble the door. I want this to look like a really kind of haphazard door made of imperfect planks. So I've cut these pieces of wood so I can have small gaps in between them. Alright, so what's happening is I'm inserting my door pieces, and I'm getting, and I can space these out a little bit more with an X-Acto knife, what I'm getting is this effect of kind of a ramshackle door with the not perfectly built. Right, so I can zoom in there a little bit. What you got going on there is some space between those planks, and that way when we kind of add some plastic strips on this to be the rivets like we talked about at the beginning of the first video, right, it'll make a lot of sense to kind of bring this door together. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is apply the shutter to this window. Okay, so I've also put that together. I took some strips of balsa wood, put a couple of all running vertical to be the planks of the shutter. I have a couple of supporting strips running horizontally, and then some little pieces of plastic card or plastic sheet to make hinges on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply glue to the back of this, and I'm going to put that right on the house structure. I can get there next to the window. Alright, like it's got an open shutter. And because I wanted that open shutter effect, that's why we left that open. So this door is going to need a frame around it. This window is going to need a frame around it. So I've pre-cut those slices, and what I've done for the door frame is I've got some coffee stirrers, and I'm simply going to apply those around the door. Yeah, I've kind of pre-cut the angles so they fit together nicely. And I make a door frame like that. I got another piece that goes on the right side, and the same thing goes for my window frames. I've cut some matchsticks to go around the window. Alright, and then on the back, I wanted to show you this before we went off camera. On the back, I'm going to put some windows too, but I'm going to use my old-fashioned method of basically, let's see if I can balance this right and stay on camera, of basically just making the window by gluing on balsa strips, and therefore delineating the location of the window, okay, as such. Alright, so that's what we're going to do to make windows in the back, is just build the frame, leave it black in the middle. It's going to look like a nice window when we're done. So let me put on that all that framing for the windows and the door, and I'm also going to put some kind of crisscrossing pieces of plastic sheet, strips of plastic card over the door to make kind of a reinforcing frame for it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so then we'll talk about basing this thing. Okay, so be right back.